If You Get Lost is the 7th studio album from rapper, producer, singer Tyler, the Creator. He's of course also a director, a visual artist, and so much more. Tyler, the Creator has had one of the most impressive career trajectories and evolutions of the last decade. Starting with the sometimes violent, shocking, anti-establishment lyrics of projects like Goblin and Bastard, evolving into the R&B, jazz, soul, lush arrangements of Flower Boy and Igor. Like some of Tyler's biggest inspirations in music, I think particularly Kanye West, he's an artist that has prided himself on constant evolution and always looking forward to the next sound. He has reinvented himself at every turn, and what I find particularly unique with Tyler's career is that at every stage, even in some of the earlier stages, he's always seemed to be able to make exactly what he wanted. Whatever sound he's fucking with, whatever his vision is, both musically and visually as well, he's had complete creative control and freedom over his art. And I think that's a rare thing to come by, especially with artists this popular. Over the last couple of albums with the releases of Igor and Flower Boy, he's ditched some of the more aggressive confrontational raps for mainly singing, opting for something a bit more romantic and luxurious. Not to say that grimy DIY aesthetic to his music wasn't there, because I think that's something that has remained throughout all of Tyler's music. It's just that that style and that sound just wasn't what he wanted to focus on at that time. Igor saw Tyler combine the layered, very clean production of Flower Boy with the more loose around the edges aesthetic of Cherry Bomb. It resulted in what I believe was Tyler's creative peak up to that point. Now we get 2 years later, as always scheduled, Call Me If You Get Lost. Once again, Tyler refuses to look back. For the most part, the sound of Igor is gone. He's rapping on a majority of these songs, and he leaves singing duties to guest vocalists. It's much more immediate and, again, at times grimier than the last couple of projects, of course helped by the fact that this whole thing is hosted by DJ Drama, effectively making it a Gangsta Grillz mixtape. Musically, this is probably the most accurate snapshot of Tyler's eclectic music taste, with him drawing from R&B, jazz, 2000s hip-hop, 80s synth pop, and even reggae. Thematically, he touches on a few things that he's focused on previous projects, especially Igor and Wolf, where once again the narrative revolves around this messy, complicated love triangle, as well as making time to discuss his fame, his wealth, his success, his artistry, and even his relationship with his fans. As a result, Call Me If You Get Lost is a beautifully messy smorgasbord of all of Tyler's influences and talent. Sir Baudelaire opens up the album with a West Side Gun sampled beat as Tyler introduces us to this new character titled Tyler Baudelaire. This character is this well-traveled, luxurious nomad looking for love. A song like What's Your Name with Ty Dolla $ign and Young Boy Never Broke Again expands on this as he starts to fall head over heels for this girl. For some reason, he chooses to call her malnourished right off the bat. That H-Town sample, of course, takes you back to the early 90s style of New Jack Swing R&B, as Tyler confesses his deep infatuation with this girl, describing her as a light and him as a moth drawn to this light. In perhaps the biggest surprise of the album for me, Young Boy Never Broke Again closes out the song with a surprisingly emotional and clever, smooth singing verse. This is kind of a theme with Tyler albums. He utilizes features in unexpected ways to create something that's genuinely surprising. Lemonhead with 42 Doug is a song that just exudes opulence and braggadocio. It sounds like it's straight out of a 2007 Dat Piff mixtape. 42 Doug is someone who's known for his collaborations with contemporary trap artists like Lil Baby or Lil Keed, but Tyler has a knack for combining elements that on paper don't really make much sense. Manifesto reunites Tyler the Creator with fellow Odd Future member Domo Genesis, and this is easily one of the standout moments on this album. The beat alone...
On God now. I came a long way from my past, nigga, it's obvious. V12 engine, I'm fish telling on some sloppy shit.
The cascading, ghostly vocal chops and the deep as fuck kicks and sub bass make this instrumental sound just monstrous. Where the song shines brightest for me is in the lyrics. Domo comes through with a super witty and poetic verse. But Tyler on this track is a man possessed. This is one of his best rap performances I think I've ever heard. He touches on a number of topics, mainly social media activism and the pressure for him to do the same thing, while he acknowledges that he doesn't need outside validation when he knows that he is helping in genuinely tangible ways. Particularly in reference to the Black Lives Matter movement, he sarcastically questions whether he's doing enough or doing too much, and how pretty much whatever he says and does is effectively rendered wrong because of his controversial past. Tyler says he was cancelled before cancelling was with Twitter fingers. He's been through this rigmarole before. He effectively boils this conflict and issue down to a theme that I think he has referenced before in his music. He says, I might not have dreadlocks, I might have these gold teeth, but I'm a nigga like you and you's a nigga like me, so let's be niggas together and let's be niggas with plans. He refuses to accept the homogenization of black people in America, regardless of whether what he's perceived to be doing as an artist or just as a person, as a public figure, he is still a black man. Aside from these more hard-hitting tracks, Tyler of course makes time to slow it down. Sweet / I Thought You Wanted to Dance is this 10-minute ode to two completely contrasting emotions. Sweet is a synthy, summery song about simply just being madly in love with someone. The way the vocals are delivered with them being high-pitched, kind of off-key, and the way the song is arranged, this is the most Igor-esque moment on the album. I Thought You Wanted to Dance is something I never in a million years thought I needed, but now I can't get enough of. It's a Tyler, the Creator reggae song. It's a song about regret for having fallen in love with this person and just getting the complete wrong idea about this situation. Similarly to Earthquake, it's sweet to the ears, but when you look at the lyrics, it has our protagonist just completely beside themselves. This contrast in emotion is also reflected in how this album sounds. It is super eclectic. Corso is an absolute banger that's gonna knock like crazy if you have good speakers. It's another one of the more bragging kind of tracks, presumably him trying to brag to impress this girl that he started to fall in love with. But its beat is brooding and beautiful at the same time, with these dirty synths and blown out bass sitting quite comfortably next to these beautiful serene pianos. I don't know what it is about the ending, but when Tyler comes in and he's just like, can you turn the noise up? Can you turn the noise up? It's such a euphoric moment for me. Juggernaut with Uzi and Pharrell is another one of these kind of songs, but it feels like it's just turned up to 11, like it's both a homage and satirical take on these kind of songs. Uzi absolutely spazzes on this song in what I think might be my favorite feature on this album, before the welcome return of Skateboard P. Rise is built around this clunky but super interesting strange groove and this synth that sounds like a broken accordion, with one of the catchiest hooks on here with the when I rise to the top. Apparently this song is co-produced by Jamie XX of the XX, which I think is a production collab for the ages. Hot Wind Blows is the definition of exuberant, the vocal sample, the flute. This is quite clearly Madlib influence to me. And of course, DJ Drama yelling about being fed vanilla ice cream and having his toes out in the sun is iconic already. Wayne once again shows why he's maintained such longevity with his third appearance on a Tyler, the Creator album, and is easily up there with the other two. Wilshire, I think, is such a risk. It's 8 minutes of Tyler just rapping about his heartbreak. It's a reflection on the fallout of the narrative of the album and just how disappointed this guy is that it didn't go the way he wanted it to. And this Tyler Baudelaire character eventually comes to the conclusion that he is kind of the bad guy in this love triangle. The beat is super simple and serene and kind of trip hop-esque almost. It kind of reminds me of DJ Shadow's Introducing. It brings all of the messy details of this album to the forefront in excruciating but captivating detail. What I find really interesting about this album, but this song in particular, is that it's kind of like he's flipped the love triangle from Igor on its head. With Igor, the central character was worried that his love interest was going to be stolen away from him. But now on this new album, he is that guy. He's the threat. He's the third wheel. And that dedication to narrative is the one thing that every Tyler album, it's the one thing actually that every Tyler album has in common with each other. Call Me If You Get Lost isn't as much of a tightly written and woven narrative like Wolf or Igor, for example, but he uses this globe-trotting, rich but desperate for love character as a vessel to display some true emotions. Once again, Tyler has delivered the unexpected, drawing from his wide and diverse musical palette. What I find just so exciting is that now we have a new version of Tyler and his music to dive into, but what is even more exciting than that is the next album, whenever it comes, is going to be completely different. The only thing we can expect is a brand new sound once again. If Flower Boy and Igor didn't prove it enough, Call Me If You Get Lost is more proof that Tyler has had the most impressive musical and artistic evolution of almost any hip-hop artist in the last 10 years. Those are my thoughts on this new Tyler album. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Make sure to like, subscribe, and dong the bell, and I will see you next time. Call me if you